All right, it looks like we have some people starting to log in. We're going to wait just a couple minutes, give everybody some time to get logged in. All right, so I started a poll. So for our attendees that are on right now, if you can go ahead and take the poll that is up on your screen, we can review that here in just a couple minutes. I'll leave the poll up here for just a couple more minutes. It looks like we have about 7 attendees, and we'll let the last couple people finish the poll. All right, looks like we have just a couple more people finishing up the poll, then we'll close it out and look at the results. Some people may be on their phones or their computers and not able to take the poll, and that's definitely okay. We'll give them about 1 more minute. All right, so we're going to close out the poll here. All right, I'm going to share the results, and then Wade, you can view the results and kind of go over them. Our first question was, do you build homes with decks? 75% answered yes, 25% answered no. Second question, and sorry if I pronounce this word wrong, what material do you use for decks? 100% said composite compared to wood. Question 3, what 2 factors drive your decision on decking materials? 75% is perceived value, 50% is cost. So Wade, if you want to kind of review those, have any questions and thoughts, definitely you can take it from here.
No, at this time, I mean, obviously, I believe cost, perceived value is also, we see it in a lot of markets as well, with a lot of builders, perceived value. Yeah, just gives me some valuable information to look at when I'm conducting meetings. And
Perfect.
So, thank you, everybody,
Awesome.
for your time on that. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for taking the poll. All right, and I will just wanted to thank everybody for coming today to our webinar Wednesday. We're happy to have you all here. Today, our webinar is Timbertech Decking 101 with Wade Vig, who will be presenting. Wade has been with AZEK for over 9 years. His experience is in building material industry, and it expands over 25 years. I'll hand the screen over to him in just a minute, but before we get started, I just have a few housekeeping items. I know all of you guys are on mute, but we still encourage you to ask questions. At the bottom of your screen, you should see a speech bubble that says Q&A. You can use that or the chat function to ask questions. If possible, we will get to them as they come up, but likely we'll reserve all the questions until the end of the presentation. If you are watching the replay, please feel free to send us an email and we will get back to you as quickly as possible. I'm going to be handing the screen over now to Wade, and he's going to share his screen and take it away.
Good morning, everybody. Can you see my screen just fine? Give a thumbs up there. Okay, hopefully everyone can hear me. I appreciate everybody coming on today. I have been with the company for just over 9 years. I've navigated from field sales all the way into national accounts with a couple of steps in between. I spent a number of years in the retail aspect as well, really servicing builders and what have you from a retail perspective. I've built homes, I built decks, so just kind of from one end of the spectrum to the next. So I like to tell others that I understand their frustrations, and I also understand how things work from your end of the spectrum. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at the end of the webinar. The last slide will have my contact information. With this particular webinar, I think the title Decking 101 may be a bit misleading. I'm not going to teach you about decking per se or how it's installed, but more so go over some of the particulars in our company and what we do. So if you do have any of those questions, obviously reach out to me. Thank you to Builder Partnerships for letting us conduct the webinar, and thank you all for coming in. Let's get started. Let's get started here. We're going to do a company overview, basically product information of Timbertech, what you need to know, some of the changes we've done this year, some of the things that are coming up with our company, some additions. Obviously, it is a very busy time in the building materials industry, both with the home builder as well as the manufacturer. And so I believe most manufacturers are making some adjustments to accommodate for the business. So that's what we're going to go over today. Why choose Timbertech? Well, if you haven't heard of us before, if you're not using us, we are one of the top manufacturers of alternative decking and building materials in the building materials industry. We're focused on technology, sustainability, design options. We try to really set ourselves aside from some of the other manufacturers. I know from a homeowner's perspective and maybe even from some builders' perspective, composite decking's composite decking, and they all essentially are made up of the same thing. So when you're in a world like that, we try to single ourselves out in certain ways in order to gain recognition based on some of that criteria. So one of those things is our warranty. So a few years back, we did a test study of all the top manufacturers of decking. We wanted to see how their fade and stain worked against our fade and stain warranty. And so we did what we call a light test, a lighting test, or a sun test. And we did 2,500 hours of direct sunlight with all the deck boards laid out. We wanted to see how everybody's decking performed under that criteria. What we found was that after 2,500 hours of direct sunlight, all the manufacturers, aside from our two products being AZEK and Timbertech decking, all showed a massive fading on their deck boards where the light was actually shining directly on them. And so after that test, we actually upped our warranties. We wanted to ensure the consumer that when they bought our product, that they were getting the best warranty in the industry. And we've done the test studies to prove that we will outlast in performance. So that being said, we categorize our products now. A few years back, we looked at a study on which brand was more recognized. And when it came to the decking portion, Timbertech had the better brand recognition over AZEK, although both companies produced decking. They merged together some years back, about 10 years ago, and we wanted to make sure that the public could still find us and identify the name of the manufacturer. So we decided to go with Timbertech. So Timbertech AZEK decking is our Cadillac brand. If you haven't heard of it, it's a capped polymer. And in the world of building materials, it's a PVC decking. It's more of a cellular PVC though, so it performs differently than like a pipe, a sprinkler pipe PVC. And that product is essentially bulletproof. It has a 50-year fade and stain warranty, a lifetime limited warranty on the product itself. And we have a technology we've put into one of those collections that allows it to have that 50-year fade and stain and lifetime warranty. It's also a fire-rated product for those of you that are building in a wildland urban interface type of atmosphere where you're going to need a fire-rated product. Timbertech Pro is really kind of the all-encompassing composite deckings. So anything that used to be Timbertech is now just kind of labeled as Timbertech Pro. We have 3 collections in that Timbertech Pro line, and they have in that same category of, say, Trex, and I don't want to use somebody else's name, but I'm going to. We have a 5-year better warranty across the board. We also cap our product on all 4 sides, whereas some of the manufacturers are just capping the top, leaving the bottom open, which can allow for moisture to absorb. And anyone who's built decks or had to tear a deck out understands that if there's ever going to be a problem, it's likely where the deck board meets the joist. So we felt that, hey, let's cap that portion of it and eliminate that as being an issue later on down the road. And some manufacturers also cap all the way around the product, but then they route a groove in it for a hidden fastener option. We don't do that. We cap our groove as well. Timbertech Edge is kind of a box store option. So Home Depot's, Lowe's will stock this product. It's a very inexpensive entry level product. It's on demand like never before in today's market. And it hasn't really reached the pro level. It is available in some markets, but it's more of an entry level. We were kind of targeting that wood market as far as price goes. So it's going to be a product that's just under $2 a foot retail. And it also has a good warranty. Now that product itself is only capped on 3 sides, which leaves that bottom side vulnerable. But for an entry level deck builder or even a home builder that just wants an inexpensive product, there is something there for you. So company values, if you've worked with a corporate company, a lot of corporations work on company values, and it's just kind of the thing that drives us. And so we put together a focus group and came up with some core values of the company that really are defined specifically. And I won't go into the definitions of all of them, but if you kind of read through what you see there on the screen, you'll understand this is kind of what makes us tick as a company as a whole. So always do the right thing, starts and ends with the customer. Doesn't always mean the customer's right, as we all know. Every individual matters, lead through innovation. That's a key component of our company. The best team wins. We've developed arguably the largest sales team in the industry. We have salesmen in every market, both in the retail aspect, meaning big box store, as well as field sales. We have a national accounts team, which I am a part of, and a ton of inside sales members as well. So I want to say we increased our sales team 30% in the last 2 years, and that's both inside and outside. And really, the last motto is better today than yesterday, and we're making steps every day that put us in a position to do so. If you haven't seen our facilities, they're located in Scranton, Pennsylvania. That's where we manufacture our trim and some of our PVC decking profiles. We also have we have 2 locations there, Kaiser and Corey Street. If anyone's ever interested, we do annual plant tours, although with the COVID pandemic, it's kind of put everything on halt. But I'm assuming either this year or next year, we'll open those plant tours up again. It's neat to go out and see how the stuff's made and processed. And we actually are very transparent in our plant tours. We take you through our R&D department and show you kind of how we develop the products we do, how we test for our core of our product to make sure that everything's as dense as it's supposed to be, and all the checks and balances that go in with it. Wilmington, Ohio is by far and away our largest facility. That is where we manufacture, I would say, 70% of our decking profiles, as well as railing. And in the near future, you will see some siding being developed as well. We're already making a shingle side product, which is a composite material, and then we're going to be introducing a lap siding alternative as well. So look for that to come in the near future. We did become a public company last year. We are now on the New York Stock Exchange, so look it up. I think we've close to doubled our shares, although the stock market just bounces up and down, as you know. Our goal really is to recycle 1 billion pounds of material, and I believe our target is 2026. That's a good message for people that are green building or folks that are concerned about the environment. Is our company is focused on being part of the solution, not part of the problem. And so we're really pitching that, and that's going to be our messaging going into the market as we do our advertising, both commercial, radio, and on the internet. Now, we also invested because of the market conditions we all see out there with shortages of products. We've been talking about this for years. We invested this year $180 million in production. And you can see some of the bullet points there and kind of where that money is being spent. The most exciting portion of that is the lower box there. We have opened up a new facility in Boise, Idaho to service the West. And I'm not sure if anybody on the call today is in the Western Hemisphere, but it's going to make a huge difference, I believe, in our market share in the West. There is freight involved with shipping everything from the East. We're at max capacity, running most of our decking out of one facility. And so this is going to alleviate a lot of issues, as well as lead times for product. So look for that to come up real soon. I know that they've moved into the facility, and then we're sourcing material. We also opened up our own facility, I know in Ohio, where we actually use our own or sort our own recycled material. So we kind of own the entire process, which helps for sourcing the raw materials that go into our products. So we're actually producing those raw materials rather than sourcing them from a third party. So expansion, and we should have the capacity to service the entire country. I think our goal is to be the #1 manufacturer of decking material in the country, and we're getting there. So look for some big things to come in the next couple of years. So our marketing for 2021, a couple of different things that we're going to be doing. I know we've invested heavily in the PGA tour. We have a 3-year sponsorship for that tour. We kicked it off last year. I believe it was in June or July. Don't quote me on that, but we advanced that for the next 2 years as well. And we're also launching some commercials. And I believe this next slide is our newest commercial, and you should see this coming out soon. We'll play this video for you.
When it comes to sustainability, some companies can't see the forest for the trees. But at AZEK, sustainability is at the core of who we are. As the industry leader in premium, low-maintenance building products, yes, we make homes more beautiful. But at the same time, we're focused on sustaining the beauty of the natural world as well. We do this by using hundreds of millions of pounds of recycled materials to create stylish, innovative products you don't have to paint or stain and are easy to maintain. It's just the right thing to do for the environment, for our communities, for our employees, and for the common good. Because at AZEK, we believe innovation is nothing without aspiration. That building a better tomorrow starts today. Why? Hey, it's in our nature. The AZEK Company, beautifully engineered to last.
How about that, huh? Let me get out of there. So our national advertising campaign obviously is going to be commercial ads, and some of the headers up top is where you're going to see some of those commercials: HGTV, Magnolia Journal, so on and so forth. Radio spots, we're targeting specific markets that we feel haven't had the penetration of our brand, and so you may hear some of those in your market. Print ads, covers, digital ads, and social media. Obviously, I think everything's gone social media nowadays, so we have a whole team that's dedicated to advertising in those areas. So look for our ads. Some key product information moving into 2021 that I think you need to know if you're currently using our products or if you're thinking about using them. Decking portfolio for 2021. Our vintage collection is under that Timbertech AZEK PVC or capped polymer. We did introduce the new Landmark collection. Harvest collection is something that we've had in the past, but we did eliminate an entire collection that was just above that in price. So we're trying to both minimize our portfolio, but keep the ones that basically everybody wants or the more popular colors. Timbertech Pro, our legacy collection, continues to be a really popular product that looks and feels like wood. It's got a nice hand or combed look to it. The Reserve collection is also new for 2021. Harder capping, less scratch or more scratch resistant, kind of a bulletproof product for cap composite. And then of course our terrain collection. We have done a pause on a few of the or one of the colors in the terrain collection, and our Timbertech Edge collection, we've done a pause on our prime collection, just because the demand for all the other colors are higher right now. So we wanted to make sure that we could produce the products that are on demand. So we just paused. When we open up our facility in Boise, Idaho, you'll likely see those products come back up online. So as you can see, this is kind of an eye-boggling chart here, but we have a lot of colors in our grays, browns, warm tans, and blondes. So it kind of meet every consumer's taste. So don't be afraid to grab a catalog from your local lumber yard and kind of take a look at some of those options. A few years back, we launched our vintage collection in our capped polymer. We did a few shows where we have a display where it looks just like the one here on your screen, where it has real pieces of wood next to our product. We could show it to people from 2-3 feet away and ask them to tell us which one is wood or which one is composite. And generally it takes them just a second. Some people have a better eye than others, but the fact that it takes them a second to see which one is real and which one is composite is really the key. If you have to look twice at a product to see if it's real wood, that means we're doing a good job with mimicking the look and feel of real wood. So as you can see on the screen, this is not photoshopped in any way. The Timbertech English walnut and the mahogany are the composite portions of the slide, and they really look and feel like real wood. The nice thing about it is mahogany and epay do not come with warranties generally, and you still have to maintain them. They will fade out, where you have a 50-year fade and stain on the two composite products on the slide. So for cladding applications, this product has been approved. It has a building code for it and everything. We see a lot of wood accents being put on homes where they're just really kind of mixing textures on the front of the house. And I think the builders on this webinar understand what I'm talking about. You could utilize these products. They're going to run less expensive than, say, mahogany or epay, but they're actually going to come with a warranty and perform. So the homeowner, rest assured, won't be up there sanding their wall in 5 years to restain the product. We also, in the same collection, because we see it more and more every day, people wanted wider and narrower width products. So the full vintage line has multi-width, where you have a 3.5-inch board, a 5.5-inch board, and a 7.25 board. So a 2x4, 2x6, and a 2x8. You can mix and match. It gives you a ton of different design options, and it looks real sharp. And it kind of, I would say, it takes the normal looking deck and really makes it have a better design to it. So look for some of those in your markets as well. Some of the dealers are stocking the multi-width. It seems to be an up and coming trend, and we're leading in that area with introducing this multi-width product. As you can see, some of the designs that are done here with the multi-width, lower left corner is a 4-inch board. The far right, lower right corner, you can see where they've boxed it in with an 8-inch and then use 6-inch in the field. So just a lot of different options you can do and really mimicking what they're doing inside. So taking that indoor living space and moving it outside. As we all know, outdoor living is a trend. It continues to grow. I don't foresee where it will stop, because it just seems to be something people enjoy, being outdoors, especially in today's day and age where a lot of people have been limited for the last year of going places. So we've seen a massive increase in sell-to on our product. I think we're upwards of 70% year-over-year increase. And that says a lot about what the economy is doing and where people are putting their investments. Our landmark collection is new for 2021 as well. I think that's a great photo. No photoshopping, once again. That's really what the deck boards look like. If you can see the cascading effects from dark to light in each one of those boards, really mimicking that look of a real deck board or real wood deck board. It does have a crosscut look to it or texture. So it has a nice feel and more of a rustic look. So look for the Landmark collection in your stores as well. This is a capped polymer product or PVC. So you can see at the top there, it has a 50-year warranty on the fade and stain and a lifetime warranty overall. So our railing collections, a couple of changes this year, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time on railing because there are so many different options. As you can see, we essentially have 6 different railing systems, but we also have a ton of different infill options for each. But railing, we can really go into the weeds on here. But we have some sleek and modern looks, some traditional classy looks for you builders that are up in the Northeast, more of that colonial look to it. If you are in the Northeast, you've probably heard of our products anyway. I believe we own those markets when it comes to railing. So our classic composite series, we decided to go away from the shiny look and we wanted to have just a matte finish. So we've introduced 3 new matte finishes, white, black, and espresso. And essentially they're the same as the Kona brownstone, well, not brownstone, but the slate gray. We discontinued the colors and the names so that we could just have matte finishes. So that it can be confusing at times, but you'll still see the same color palettes. It'll just be a matte finish versus a shiny finish. We did introduce an aluminum baluster infill for our Radiance Rail Express, which is our entry-level composite rail system. It only had one option, which was a square composite baluster in the past. And now we've offered an aluminum baluster option to that as well. So you can get that metal rail look. Our Impressions Rail Express is our aluminum rail system. We introduced 2 years ago. Seems to be taking off, and we've done a few things with that as well. We wanted a top rail option, more of a square option. That's more of a modern look instead of what we would call like the mushroom top or the bread loaf. And we also introduced a drink rail attachment system. What we see with a lot of rail systems, at least particularly in the West, is people are wanting to apply a deck board to the top of the rail and use it as a drink rail. It gives a little bit more of an area up there for people to have their plates and stuff on when they're having a barbecue. So we introduced that option as well. There's a closer look at some of our railing options. The upper left area there, classic composite series, you can see the Premier Radiance trademark and drink rail system where you would apply a deck board, the new matte white, black, and espresso. Impressions Rail Express to the far right. It's a panelized system. It's easy to install. Everything comes included. When you order a post, you get your cap and skirt. When you order a rail kit, you get the panelized system and all the mounting hardware. And then you would just have a separate SKU for your top rail, depending on if you wanted to go with the classic top rail, the modern, or the new drink rail. And so you can see we have plenty of decking option or railing options. We wanted to also do a universal mounting bracket for our classic composite series. So we don't have different brackets to order. So if you order a mounting bracket like kit, it'll work. It's the same SKU for all of our railing lines aside from our aluminum system. So it's simplified when it comes to ordering. It reduced the SKU amount and complexity. It offers multiple drink rail options as well. We have that drink rail system is kind of a new introduction, so it'll fit on most of our rail systems. There's kind of a closer look at what it would look like. So if people have decking, they wanted to match the handrail somewhat with the decking. they can now incorporate a full profile deck board to the top of that handrail, and it gives them the option to have a little bit more of a matching look where everything kind of blends together on their deck. And we have a blown up picture up in the upper right there that kind of shows really what it looks like when it's applied. There's a look at the new Baluster Systems for the Radiance Rail Express. So the last one had square holes. This one has round holes. We had builders and contractors and even homeowners calling out for us to do this years ago. I'm glad they finally got on board with it. It's a good look. It's an inexpensive rail system overall for a composite rail system. So don't be afraid to look at it and price it out. If you're looking to put a rail system on a home that's going to last, looks like painted wood, and you can apply the metal balusters now to it. "2021 literature is available in your nearest dealer yard, even Home Depot and Lowe's. If you're shopping there, they should have some of this literature. If you're looking for something specific, you can always reach out to me, and I can get you something sent over. If you need samples of any of the deck boards and you're limited to travel, you can always reach out to me as well, and we can get that mailed to your home address or business address, whichever you prefer. But we have it all available for 2021. So reach out to me if you need anything. And to end the slide, we can now take questions if need be. If you think there's something I missed, by all means, chime in and let me know. Just kind of an overview of the company and what's going on, where we're headed. And I am the key account manager for the builders. That's all I do is work with builders. So if there's something specific you're needing questions on, by all means, now's your time to chime in. And Emma, if you
All right.
Oh, there you go.
Perfect. Thank you, Wade, for that presentation. Let me check and see. I think we have a couple questions. We do have one question from Mark. He's wondering, what are the physical signs to a deck board when moisture enters the uncapped part of the board?
Well, because a lot of these deck boards are really a dense material, they're not holding a ton of moisture. And they are formulated to where it won't essentially delaminate the product unless you're in a very moisturous atmosphere or area. I worked in Northern California and Southern Oregon for a number of years, and it's very wet over there. And we've seen where at times the end of the board would swell from the cuts because it was consistent moisture. And we're talking, 300 out of 365 days of the year, there's fog, there's rain. In the most extreme conditions, you'll see somewhat of a swelling of the product. Now, I've heard other manufacturers say that when the bottom of the board doesn't have a cap on it, the reason for that is so that it allows moisture to escape the product. But in most instances, there isn't any moisture in the board, and it takes a lot for that moisture to get up there. But there also are cases where you have a deck that's almost enclosed on the bottom. There's not a lot of air ventilation underneath the deck. And so you have this deck board, it's getting rained on, there's moisture underneath the deck, it's pushing up to the joist. Maybe mold and mildew can occur. You get moisture buildup maybe into the composite on the joist, and now you have a rotted joist as well. It doesn't seem to be a major issue overall, but what we've done is just kind of eliminated that with our collections. So it's not even a talking point if you're using our product. And Mark, I hope that answered your question.
Perfect, thank you. Another question, and I know you touched a little bit on kind of how AZEK decking is different, but what would you say in particular the biggest reason AZEK decking is different from other decking manufacturers?
I would say the biggest reason is the fully capped product. You can go from our PVC line, which is 100%, capped polymer PVC with no wood material in it, no wood cellulose, to our composite series, and the groove is made exactly the same. So our fasteners can be used on, our hidden fasteners can be used on both products. But the fully capped, I think, is probably the biggest difference between us and any of the other manufacturers, and our warranty. Hopefully that answers the question.
Okay. Definitely, thank you. And I know you mentioned the new Western facility in Boise, Idaho. Are there any specific products that'll be produced out of there, or will it, you just have the capacity to have more products?
We're going to start out producing PVC in that facility first, with the additions to our Wilmington facility producing the cap composite. We will have the capacity at that facility for now, and we wanted to increase a bit more capacity with the PVC. So we're going to start producing it first in the West, and then introduce the cap composite later on down the road. So I think probably June-ish of 2022. But essentially, as demand grows, that facility will grow. And then we'll pick certain specific products to produce out of there. What I see selling more in the West is our high-end PVC and our high-end cap composite, versus we have 3 categories of cap composite: a good, a better, and a best. And that better and best seem to be selling more out of the West. So I would believe at some point those would be the products they would start producing out of Boise.
Perfect, thank you.
You bet.
And how many sales team members does AZEK have as a whole?
I would say on the outside sales, we're probably right around 130, and then inside sales team members we're approaching 30. So we
Okay,
have
perfect.
somebody out there for every issue. A lot of support in the field.
Definitely, all across the U.S.
Yes, all across the U.S. and overseas as well.
Perfect. Well, I think that wraps up the questions. Unless any of our attendees have another question, you can use the Q&A or the chat button on the bottom of your screen.
Wait, this is Chuck Shin. I have 2 questions.
Absolutely.
One is, right now, the builders are just going crazy with lumber prices. And, they've increased 300, 400%, right? Where you're at almost $200 per 1,000 board feet. How are your prices? Are they stable, or are you having the same kind of issues with lumber? I would suspect you're very competitive right now for decking and compared.
Yeah, we're pretty competitive. I mean, we did have a couple of price increases. We held one price increase for about 1.5 years. And then at the beginning of the year, we decided we needed to increase our price just because raw materials had gone up and we had absorbed that increase. Then the Texas freeze hit. And so that kind of affected a lot of different industries. So we had another price increase, but really in the core decking products, the highest increase I saw was about 3.5%. So we're definitely not up in that 500% range. It's a volatile market right now, though. We know fuel costs are going up. We're a petroleum-based product. The plus side is that we have a lot of buying power, and we source material. Like I said, specifically in the recycling, we produce that ourselves. And then a lot of the capped product we're using, which is, we're moving more into recycled polymer, but it's a high density polyethylene. And so it's more of a virgin plastic. but we have sourced that enough, and we have enough buying power to keep our prices stable. So we don't see massive increases. If I had a crystal ball, I would predict maybe another increase next year, but I think we're pretty stable for the year. But overall, I believe in a lot of markets we're less expensive than cedar or redwood decking. So you can get a capped composite material fully capped with a 30-year fade and stain warranty for under the cost of cedar or redwood, depending on the cedar. Western red cedar is the one specifically I'm talking about.
Well, one of the problems that builders are having is they can't even hold their prices on lumber after they've released a purchase order. I would assume that you guys, once I release a purchase order, because I pre-sell. So when I release, I'm going to release all my POs at the front end of the job. I assume I'm able to maintain that price that I've released as a PO.
Yeah.
Guys, which I can't do with lumber.
Right. Yeah, you should be fine. I know that, you know, with distribution's buying power and the dealer's buying power with our product, until they turn that product, they don't generally put a price increase out there. So even if we increase our price, say yesterday, but the builders just received, or the dealers and distributors just received their material from their previous orders. Well, the product they have currently on the ground is priced at the old price. Now, some of them are a little, you know, different in how they do their finances. So they will charge for that product what the replacement cost will be. But in most cases, what I've seen is the dealer passes on that price without the increase. And I know some of the builders have enough buying power as well, where the dealer will hold their pricing for 30 to 60 days. Probably not in today's market with the lumber prices, but I think with decking, we're safe, Chuck. So yes.
Yeah, talking to the lumber dealers, they say, I don't care what the price is, I just want the material. I mean, they're in a panic.
Yeah,
and they can't hold their suppliers, so they can't hold their prices to us.
Right. I would say if you're going to get into composite decking on your homes, now would probably be the best time. So pricing's pretty stable.
How long has AZEK been part of Builder Partnerships? I think you're one of our original ones.
Yeah, I've been with the company 9 years, and I think it's been at least, I think it's right at 9 years. My predecessor, Rob Bivens, I believe, was one that kind of started it up with him and Craig Hyatt.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been right around 9 years.
You've been a great partner, and we really appreciate you being involved with us.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys as well. Looking forward to many years of success. So thank you, Chuck. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
You betcha. Any other questions out there?
I don't believe we have any other questions. If anybody has them, you can type them in the Q&A button on the bottom.
Yep, and feel
If
free.
not, I think.
Yeah, feel free to email me or call me if something does pop up. You know, if you have questions in your particular market with your dealers, you need installers, any of that, that's what I do, guys. So by all means, reach out to me. If you need to connect with a local guy in your market, you can reach me as well, and I can figure out who that is.
Yeah, and that's the same with us. If you have any issues and you're part of the Builder Partnerships team, you can always contact Brian. Brian can get a hold of Wade without any problem. I love your new products.
Yeah, they're good looking, aren't they?
They're beautiful.
Yeah, I've always been, you know, it's funny, I try not to be so biased. You know, I was, like I said, when we started, I spent a number of years in retail, and I sold Timbertech, Trex, Iberon, all of them. And I always navigated to Timbertech even before I got the job, just because their products always looked a little bit nicer. And then now working with the company, particularly that AZEK vintage collection, I don't see another product out there, and I'm an open-minded person. So if I see another manufacturer that really, you know, brings it home on their product, I give them credit. But that vintage line, I don't see any product on the market that looks as good as that and has that kind of warranty either. So it might sound biased, but I'm a consumer as well. But you're right. I love it. It's a sexy product, Chuck.
It really is. Thank
Yes.
you. I'm glad you got rid of the glossy stuff too.
Yeah.
Now it actually looks like wood.
Exactly. Well, until next time, I believe we're doing something next month and more to come on that. But I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And thank you so much for joining our webinar today. Hope to hear from you guys soon.
Definitely.
All right.
Thank you. And to everybody that is listening to the webinar, if you're in your car, just wanted to pass along Wade's information again. Wade Vig, he was the presenter today, the key account manager. His email is wade.vig@azekco.com. We just wanted to say thank you again for attending our webinar Wednesday. Our upcoming webinar will be Wednesday, June 2nd, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and that is helping you navigate innovation, quality, and trends in kitchen, bath, and home lighting with Delta and Kichler Lighting. Everybody that was attending this webinar, you will also receive an email tomorrow with the webinar link from today, and you can also find the information on our website at builderpartnerships.com/events and click on the tab webinars on the left. Thank you so much for attending. Have a great day.
Thank you.